Hello and welcome to today's BoldTrail Academy. Here with Steve Hillier as always. Been a busy week this week. All of this databasing, all this activity that we sit here and talk about on Friday. If you stay consistent with it, it absolutely works. And Steve and I are examples of that. So let's jump into it. Today we're going to talk about or I should say, we're continuing our series on daily activities. Within this space, every agent out there works in a different way. And so within that space, what I'm doing with these daily activities is I'm really showing you different ways that you can go about your day. So before we jump into it, I just want to go back, and as always, I like to review where we've come from. And on the BoldTrail website, on my YouTube page, don't pay attention to these three videos. It's a video series that I'm taking on how to use seminars to attract buyers. So don't pay attention to those videos. I haven't really labeled them completely. I'm just putting them on there so it's a reference for myself. But if you wanted to view them, you certainly could. But you can get our past content on the YouTube page. Current content is under daily executions. Sometimes they do get monetized, or not monetized. They get taken down, moderated is what I was looking for, because YouTube doesn't like me sharing contact information. So to get the full list, you go into the BoldTrail Academy on School. If you haven't joined the platform there, I'll put the link. Oh, it's not up.
I don't know why it's transferring over on the screen up there, but not
Interesting.
online. So why don't we have audience participation? Mark, why don't you let us know what screen you're looking at? Oh,
Right.
looks like it changed on us now. Thank you.
All right. So if you haven't joined the school platform, this is the invite link, and I will put it down in the chat as we always do. And I'm trying to post more there. As you can see, I've had a light week as far as posting because I've just been busy. It's been a crazy week this week, and I'm very thankful for that. But it's a reminder to everybody out there is that when you're in real estate, it's really important to pick a lane, have a plan, and then stay consistent with that plan. I think that one of the problems I've had as a realtor in the last 20 years is I go and I start doing something, I don't see immediate results, and then I get distracted by a shiny object and I go a different direction. I think that's a problem that realtors have in general. And I'm here to tell you that when you pick a lane and you stick in that lane and you do the same thing every week, you gain traction. And I'm a perfect example of that. And so as you see here, I haven't had my consistency with posting this week. My last post with general content was 11 days ago with the Krista Mayshore. When I get into my classrooms, though, I do have my daily executions in there. And in here, you can go in and see exactly what's going, the past sessions that I've had on these daily executions. Like I say, everyone works at a different level. They have different processes they like to work within. And really, I'm just showing you the possibilities for using the platform on a daily basis. And it comes back to that consistency. So you can pick those up on the school platform, and the link to join is in the discussion. I don't really post the content on the Facebook page, but I do post the notice of meeting every week. So if you're looking for that notice of meeting, you can find me at BoldTrail Academy on Facebook. I got 512 members on there, more than I have on the school platform. So I want to share with you, before I get started, the weekly newsletter. I have gotten more traction from the weekly newsletter than probably anything that I do within my marketing. I put together a video where I talk about this newsletter. And what I did was I went in and I created a Claude project where I went in and gave Claude the rules for building my newsletter every week. And it built this newsletter for me. I got a little bit of fine tuning I need to do on it, but all of this formatting is based on blogs that I have done. And I put the links in there, all the information in there, and it builds the newsletter for me. And I just think it looks amazing. Much better than what I was putting out there. But the important part is that I'm getting traction on it. I'm getting more interaction. So I'm not really an AI expert. I feel like I go in and do a whole series on AI and Claude, but I'm not really sure I would do it justice. I take that newsletter and I do a video on it and I post it to my Living in Placer County page. And I don't get amazing view counts, but it's that consistency of showing up every week. I take this same content and I put it on my Facebook channel. I put it on my Reddit channel. It gets distributed out. And it takes time, it takes effort, but it's very rewarding in the end. Before I get into today's content, I do want to point out that next week, next Thursday, you really don't want to miss Sandy Payne. She did 100 listings in 10 months.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's crazy.
I don't, would I have time to ride my bike? Would I have time to eat? I'm not really sure. I got priorities in life, but I can't wait to see what she has to say. We're all going to pick up some very valuable nuggets from that. And I will say that when you come to the community, I'm going to do the same breakdown that I did with Krista Mayshore. I'll do the same thing with Sandy in there. If you guys are in the Sacramento area with EXP, or maybe you're not with EXP and you want to go to this event, please come to the event. We ask that you do register. So that's the QR code to register. It's a free event, but we just like to know how many people are coming so that we know how many tables and chairs to set up.
And if you do attend the event, we do openly invite you back to the office. We're going to serve lunch to everybody.
And if you're an EXP agent and you're planning on attending an event, we like it. We would really like it if you would bring a guest. You know, it could be a fellow EXP agent, but preferably a guest from another brokerage to show them the culture that we have within Brent's office. I can tell you that what Brent does for us, the amount of love and resources he gives us, you don't find this everywhere. So we're very fortunate. But next Thursday at PCAR is where that will be held. So scan that QR code. All right, let's jump into what we got going today. My screen share is kind of goofy today.
It is a little goofy today.
So let me go back in here.
I can see it on the big screen because that's just transferring from your
There
it goes. It's just a bit delayed.
Okay, so like I said, we're getting into ways that we can use BoldTrail so that is more operable data. I've met with a lot of agents who have their data just all compiled into one massive spreadsheet. And usually it comes from your iPhone, your mobile device, and you've never really paid attention to really completing the contact card for each individual contact that you bring in. And this is where I have found traction. When I go into my database, I know where every contact is. Am I switching over? Yeah. So I know, like when I look at my dashboard and I see the activity going on, Hugo's going to buy a house in August and he's really anxious. So he's in there quite a bit. But I see all of this information going on and I know the status of every single one of these people that are searching for homes because I'm taking the time to complete that database. I was at the gym, that contact card rather, I was at the gym the other day, ran into a guy. I was wearing my branded t-shirt. So if you guys don't have your branded t-shirts, gotta wear you gotta wear the brand, man. But struck up a conversation with him. He wants to buy a piece of land. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I need his full name, I need his email address, his phone number, his property address. I need it all. I went and put it into my BoldTrail, and I hashtagged him with a gym contact because I met him at the gym. I also hashtag him as land buyer because he's going to buy land. So these are the things I've learned over time, that if you take the time to do this, it may not seem super significant at the time you're doing it, but as your database matures, it's very helpful. So let's jump into it. Again, we started out with the power hour. We went to speed to lead, and we did a deep dive into speed to lead and bringing value. We went in and looked at the Stream app last week and those behavioral signals within Stream. And if you go to the BoldTrail classroom, you can see that I posted a worksheet for how to use that. And so today we're looking at segmentation. Interesting. Most agents are leaking revenue every day. 70% of contacts in the average agent CRM sit completely unused.
Shame on us.
Guys, I think I'm guilty of this. I think I'm guilty of this. And so I want to get into today of how we can use these contacts. I have 3,500 in my database, and I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of work I should be doing in order to communicate with that. In fact, I talked to my wife the other day. I said, "Hun, I really think I need to hire a inside sales agent to start making calls for me because I just don't have enough time. I have a ton of listings. I got buyers out there. I do my BoldTrail for agent attraction and trainings, and the amount of traction I have, I know that I'm part of this 70%. And so within that space, we're looking at smart campaigns. Now with the Stream app, we have the AI prompts where you can go in through streams, and with the AI capability, you can prompt it to find the neglected areas of your database that you need to pay attention to. And we talk about in streams. We can get vitals reports. I'm going to talk about vitals reports. I'll go in and show you what I mean by that. Right here is the vitals. In the vitals report, this is for the living in Placer County group. When I go into my individual page, look at
But
that.
you're the only one that logs into living in Placer County. So you're just building the platform.
So what the living in Placer County is all the agents that are in that that team site. When you guys are going in, and no one needs to get called out on this, but I'll tell you that since the vitals came in, originally when I logged in, my vital was right around 50%. You should really strive to be in the 85th percentile with your vitals. So I'm at 90%. I can tell you Monday when I logged in, I was down about 70 because I had 58 past due tasks. What do I mean by that? Right here. These are my tasks that I need to complete. And so I didn't do anything yesterday because I was out showing property. I got a new listing of a 30-acre property that was built in 1920, but it's been neglected for 15 years. Nothing has been done for 15 years. It was the trippiest thing I've ever seen. But anyway, I wasn't out yesterday, and so I wasn't able to do my follow-ups. But hey, 23 follow-ups this afternoon is what I'm doing. My goal is going to be making 23 phone calls. And then once I get beyond that, I go into my statuses and make sure I'm following up with my top 10. So let's go back and conversation rate is the last one. And that's really probably the most important matrix for me is that conversation rate. I think that for myself personally, I have become very proficient at hiding behind my computer screen and not getting out there and making those calls. And at the end of the day, that's really what we need to do as agents. I really get bogged down with having to do, and it goes back to that consistency. Yeah, I got to do my social media posts. I got to do my blogs. I got to do all these things that we need to do to remind people that you're an agent. But it almost gets to the point with me where I'm like, I have to check in with myself and say, wait a minute, I need to do real estate. I need to close transactions. And so I think that it's the conversation rate is what is the important matrix there. So here we go. Let's get into the tools on how we can do this. Hashtag, statuses, smart list, and smart assistant AI. When you put a contact in your database, you have to put a hashtag with it. Now, something I've been doing, a new enhancement to this platform is this search for tools. So you can just go in, you can search hashtag, and it will find the tools. It's under marketing hashtags. I want to point out I have 210 hashtags in my database. Let's take a look at what these are. You can see I don't have a lot of them in here. I don't know why I have a one here. Sunnybrook, 17250 Sunnybrook. That was a listing I had a couple years ago. It was up outside of Red Bluff, 160 acres, out in the Wild West. I remember when I went out and showed the property, I brought my little pit bull dog and my gun because there's no law enforcement out there. Kind of a crazy thing. I did end up selling it. I got both sides. My point is that I know that those 5 people are looking for rural land property. So now when I get a lead for rural land property, I know it's hashtag, I know it's Sunnybrook. Pinecrest was a listing I had. Goes down. Appointment set. Right here, AOD, affidavit of death. So I go in and I download affidavit, or I get affidavit of death list from title. And then I have a smart campaign, a mail campaign, all of that set up to go after those. Kind of morbid, but in our market, what are the three types of transactions that are happening right now?
Upsize, downsize, and death.
Death, divorce, job transfer. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, we could list others out there, but those are those three ones. So I think it's important for us as agents to adjust to where our market is. I have Assume List because I run ads for Assume List. I wanted to get into, I have my imports. So if you're new to the platform and you're importing your database, it's important to segment your database and import them accordingly. I can tell you from my own direct experience and working with other agents, when you import your database as this massive, thousands contacts, and you're importing them all as buyer leads, but you have no idea who they are or what their status is, you're just creating a headache for yourself. But I'm showing you here that you can import and it applies a hashtag so you know exactly where that lead came from. KV Core I have in here.
Does it forward KB forward leads to the?
And you can look at, he has 1279 on his newsletter.
Yeah.
So that's a great application. And not everybody needs to have all these different types of segmented
Yep.
lists. But what he's pointing out is put together the list that you need to communicate with. The newsletter is a really good example, I think
Yeah.
we could point out.
So to that point, I use GoDaddy email marketing to send my newsletter out.
Yeah, that was a question in the chat. So it's the reasoning behind that is deliverability.
It is. And so right here, also the reporting of it, you can see I sent it out last week. 949 is the sanitized database. 104 opened it, and then you can get into unique clicks and that sort of thing. As you can see, I do it every week. You can see when I started using AI to format my newsletter. And I can tell you that my open rate and interaction went way up once I switched over to that Claude project to have Claude format my email. Claude blows my mind. It really does. Back to the point at hand, looking at these open houses. Every time you do an open house, it applies a hashtag automatically. You can see I had 13 leads on this open house. Property boost. See all the property boost? These are all leads that have come in through property boost. It automatically assigns a hashtag to it. And you could have multiple hashtags. Okay, I think I've made my point.
You've made your point
I
well.
made my
So
point.
thank you.
But the important thing is, guys, is that these are exclusive to you. No one else sees them. You know, Steve, what would be a hashtag that would be unique just to you?
Oh, hashtag Jeeps.
Jeeps. Do you know it? Steve's a big Overlander guy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just good at spending money on the stupid sport.
And so when he meets somebody, you know, Steve and I have been friends for 30 years, and he'll go into a room and start having conversations with people. And by the time we leave that room, he knows everybody. He's just that personality. I'm not necessarily that personality, but Steve aspires me to get to that point. But when he meets those contacts, he puts them into a CRM. He applies a hashtag so he knows where it came from. I have a whole group of guys that I road bike ride with. So if you guys don't like road bikers, then you don't necessarily like me, because I'm one of those guys out there on Saturday morning, you know, getting my miles in. But I have a road bike hashtag in here, so I know where that group came from. I do the same thing in my phone, because not all my contacts are in my BoldTrail that are in my phone. But when I put somebody into my phone, I put that a note there that says where I met them. So very important that you do this as you move forward in using your database and being a database agent. All right, so I beat that to that point in. Statuses. Now, this is something that I can be better at, is updating these statuses right here. And so when that lead comes in and it goes from new lead to prospect to spear to archive, whatever it is, it's important to update those statuses so that when you're doing your follow-up, you can follow up to your new leads, your prospects, your spear, whatever it is. And so it's important to update those statuses. You can get into smart lists where you can go in and like a smart list that I have, it's a save filter. As you guys know, I have my demo database that I use, and I have focused on hair band lead singers from the 90s. And so that's my smart list. I know exactly where they came from. And as you can see over here, I have my different hashtags applied to them as I do more of these presentations. That's what I refer to as a smart list. And then once you have this information in there, you can use the Streams app with the Smart AI Assistant to prompt it to find certain statuses of leads. So if I have, like, my big listing is coming on today, 10 acres, 6,000 square foot house, 1,200 square foot ADU, pool house, barn, beautiful property. I know I have buyers for that property in my database because I know what their statuses is, I know their hashtags, all this stuff. And so I'm going to use the Smart Assistant to go in and find those. And that way I'll share that listing to them when it goes live today. So segmenting. I've talked about the hashtags. Probably one of the more useful aspects of the platform that can be easily overlooked. And I think I've driven the point home of the importance of that. Um, never go tagless. Steve, never go tagless.
Get the tag on.
Be generous. 5 to 10 hashtags. I mean, a lot of my hashtags are just one because it's
See, now I didn't realize I learned something new. So you can actually do more than one hashtag for a single contact?
absolutely.
Okay, well, see, look how educated I'm
You
getting.
can see right here, I have Vince Neal. He has multiple contacts or multiple
Oh,
in
that's
there.
nice. So you can really sharpen up that smart list.
That's right. That's right. I got more of them down here. Look at me. Look at all the hashtags I have assigned to me down here.
You're just a
You're
hashtagger.
funny. So yeah, be generous with your hashtags. You can hashtag in bulk. So if you go in and micro sort your database and say, like I did it with newsletter, I said, okay, who do I want to have my newsletter go to? And so I went in and did a sort of my database. I came up with that 1200, and then I applied that hashtag in bulk. So it's not just a one at a time thing. So if you have Roseville buyers or Roseville listings, um, pipeline clarity at a glance. So our whole goal here, guys, is not to be the number one influencer on social. We don't want to have a TikTok go viral. That's those things are nice, but our goal is to close transactions. What's our average commission in our market right now, Steve?
2.5%.
2.5. And what does that equate to? 10 grand?
No, it's a little higher than that. Probably 12, 13,
Yeah,
maybe 15.
I think we're 1250.
Yeah.
$12,500 in one transaction. That's what most people make in a quarter. Our focus needs to be on closing, and that's really what this whole presentation is about. It's like, look, let's go in and let's use the tools within the platform so that when we're doing our 1 hour power session, we're able to go in and really focus on the leads that are most important. When I did my 58 follow-ups on Monday, um, I was using all of these tools because once I made a connection with somebody, I knew the importance of updating that contact with an additional hashtag, changing the status, whatever it is, so that I knew exactly who that lead was and the importance of contacting them. Dynamic lists that update themselves. This to really get into using this, um, you need to use the platform. I don't have one class I could give you. I can just say that when you go in and you have your hot buyer list and you factor that into your daily calls and you have the different hashtags applied to it, those are your priorities. You know, I like right now I have 5 buyers out there in the market, and I am in contact with them every single day. Um, no activity is also important. So if you haven't had activity from a contact, one of my lines I use is, hey, we've been sending you a bunch of information. I see you've been opening emails from us. Are you getting the information that you want, or are we just bugging you? Because I don't want to bug you if you don't want the information. And I had a buyer last week say, hey, I just like getting your information and keeping up to date on the market. I said, okay, well, I'll keep it going under one condition. She's like, what's that? And I said, my one condition is that if you know anyone that is thinking about buying or selling a home, would you think of me? She goes, oh my gosh,
Be happy to.
I'd be happy to.
Just ask.
So I'm kind of overstretched my presentation here. I like to keep to a half hour. This presentation will be in the school platform, so you guys can reference it. When you get into the cleanup, the prioritizing, and the outreach, I have different uh, ways of doing that I've highlighted there. So your 30-minute weekly sprint. So if you take the time, put it into your calendar, and have this part of your workflow throughout the week. Even if you look at your database today and say, hey, I only have, I don't know, 100. It's a perfect time to get started with this. like I tell you, I have 3,500 and I think by the end of the year, it's going to be closer to 4,000. I am overwhelmed, but that's a good thing because that's what we're all trying to do. So, like I say, I'll make sure this is posted in the school platform. So right here, the golden rule I have for everybody is never add a contact without a hashtag and status. Very important because you can lose control of your database. And then you open up your database and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I need to do today? I'm so disorganized, I don't even know where to start. If you are that person, this is your presentation because this is a roadmap to get started. I'll tell you that when I started this 4 years ago, probably 4.5 years ago, I uploaded everything as buyer contacts. And then I integrated with my email and I think it was like, I don't know, 7,500 contacts and they came from my phone and different sources. And I emailed everybody as a new buyer. Everybody as a new buyer. People were calling me going, Alex, what are you doing? Because I started the Smart campaign. Don't do that. I can give you the path forward so you don't
But
do
I think
that.
you closed an escrow, right?
I've closed several escrows from that and made some great content. It just goes into the fact.
Just action.
Mhm.
Do the action.
It is a funny story, but it did work for me. And it's taking action. Now that consistent action has gotten me to the point where I'm ready to bring on other agents and share in my success. So just wrapping it up, next week we're going to look at behavioral automation workflows that run without you. And so we're going to get into that next week. But that's what I have for you this week.
I think that's awesome. We got a couple questions in the chat. So what we're going to do right now, guys, is we're going to turn off the recording and we're going to just take a quick second and then we're going to restart the recording. And for 5 to 15 minutes, we're going to field any questions and then I'll grab a couple